It began quietly. No explosions, no riots, no headlines, just the faint sound of metal shutters closing, one after another. A city that once pulsed with noise and movement is now filled with echoes. Beijing, the heart of a nation once obsessed with progress, now feels like a vast stage after the actors have left. The lights are still on, but the audience is gone. Across the capital, small shops vanish every week. The latest survey shows 93% of physical stores have shut their doors. On streets where there were once 100 shops, only a handful survive. Many owners can't even last 2 years. Some give up within months. The neon lights still flicker, but behind the glass, there's nothing but dust and faded posters of better days. At the New East Road, once a river of traffic and chatter, only the wind moves. The mall escalators still hum mechanically, as if unaware the customers are gone. The luxury stores have left too. Adidas, Nike, Uniqlo, entire rows of them, dark and hollow. In the evenings, security guards lean against the walls, their radios silent, their faces tired. Beijing's decline is not loud. It's suffocatingly silent. It's the kind of silence that seeps into your bones, that makes even the hum of a vending machine sound alive. The collapse of the physical world is no longer a statistic. It's visible, tangible, a reality you can walk through. Those who live here say the emptiness feels unnatural. It's like someone unplugged the city, one taxi driver told me. We still drive, but no one's out there anymore. Some blame online shopping, others the shrinking middle class, and others whisper about fear of spending, fear of losing jobs, fear of tomorrow. In the government's eyes, consumer confidence is a technical term. For ordinary people, it's survival. Every morning at 5 a.m., workers gather in the freezing dark outside the old job markets. They wait for labor that may never come. Some haven't eaten a full meal in days. These faces, lined, weary, but strangely calm, are the new face of the capital. From the Zhongnanhai compound, rumors ripple outward like smoke. Talk of internal struggles, purges, and factional battles has filled the vacuum left by prosperity. Yet ordinary Beijingers don't see politics. They see closed shops, unpaid wages, and neighbors quietly moving away. In a city that once never slept, the silence is the loudest thing left. If you stand at the edge of Chang'an Avenue at dusk, you'll see a city still glowing, lights on every skyscraper, LED billboards flashing, police sirens echoing through the canyons of glass. But behind the light, there is hollowness. Beijing's economy is still breathing, but only barely. For decades, China's capital was the symbol of endless upward motion. Money flowed through its arteries, from real estate and retail to construction and finance. It was a city that could absorb anything, crises, pandemics, sanctions, and emerge stronger. But now, the facade is cracking. A recent report by a private research group revealed that retail foot traffic in Beijing has dropped by 78% since 2019. Some commercial districts, once crowded like human rivers, have seen declines of over 90%. Local landlords refuse to talk on camera, but when we visited the West Joy Mall in Haidian, 2 cleaners whispered, "Every morning we open the doors, but there's no one to clean for. The escalators move for ghosts." One of the largest restaurant chains in the capital, Shibei Oat Noodles Village, closed more than half its branches this year. "We can't pay rent anymore," the manager said, his voice tired, "because no one eats out. Families cook at home now, or they don't eat at all." Even international brands, once unstoppable, are quietly retreating. In Sanlitun, the flagship stores of Apple and Starbucks remain open, but only for image. Their profits have collapsed by more than 60% compared to pre-pandemic levels. Employees told us off record that shifts have been cut, and staff now rotate only 3 days a week. What's happening here is not just an economic slowdown, it's an erosion of trust. Trust that if you open a shop, customers will come. Trust that if you work hard, your wages will be paid. Trust that if you save money, it won't vanish overnight. Last October, a viral incident shook that trust even further. China's biggest bank, ICBC, suffered a system failure that wiped account balances to zero for millions of users. Though funds were later restored, the psychological damage was irreversible. If even the state's own bank can disappear my money, a resident told us, then what else can we believe in? From that day on, the flow of money froze. Gold sales skyrocketed. Bank deposits plummeted. Beijing's middle class, once proud, confident, and ambitious, turned into a generation of silent savers, hoarding what little remained. The city's financial district, Guomao, feels like a museum now. The glass towers still shimmer under the smog, but most offices are empty. Companies operate on skeleton crews. One former investment consultant described the change. Before 2020, we would close 3 or 4 deals a week. Now, we're lucky to close 1 a month. Sometimes we don't close any. We just write reports pretending something is happening. Restaurants that once hosted business dinners now sit dark. Taxi drivers wait hours for a single ride. Street vendors vanish after dawn. The ripple effect spreads beyond Beijing. Cities like Tianjin, Shijiazhuang, and Baoding report vacancy rates above 40%. Apartment blocks are built faster than they're sold, and entire neighborhoods remain unlit at night. In some suburbs, foxes and stray dogs roam through empty courtyards once meant for middle-class families. But perhaps the most disturbing image is psychological. People have stopped believing in the future. At an unemployment center in Tongzhou, we met Mr. Liu, 42, who used to manage a construction team of 80 workers. His firm went bankrupt in 2023 after a government housing freeze. Now, he rides an electric scooter delivering groceries for 25 yuan an hour. I built towers that touch the sky, he says bitterly. Now I deliver food to those who still have jobs. Nearby, a former accountant sells socks on the sidewalk. A young mother stands beside her, holding a sign. Please hire me. Any job. I can type, clean, or cook. Her husband, she says, left for Shenzhen last year and hasn't called since. Inside a deserted shopping complex near Fuxingmen, a government worker in uniform walks past shuttered stores. We still collect taxes, he mutters, but there's no one left to pay them. When Beijing sneezes, the nation catches a cold. But this time, it feels terminal. Housing prices have fallen more than 60% from their peak. In outer districts, second-hand apartments sell for the same price as rural homes once did. Yet even at these levels, no one is buying. Mortgage defaults have tripled, and foreclosures fill online auction sites. For many residents, this collapse is not just financial, it's existential. The Chinese dream, once built on growth, property, and family security, has evaporated. In its place is quiet resignation. At 7:30 p.m., we walk through Beijing's APM Mall again. Bright lights, no customers. A janitor pushes her mop slowly across a spotless floor. She pauses, looks up, and says softly, I used to clean for people. Now, I clean for no one. That line captures the heart of China's ghost economy, a nation still illuminated, but hollow inside. If Beijing's empty malls are the body of decline, then the collapse of its middle class is the soul leaving it. A decade ago, the Chinese middle class was the envy of the developing world. A generation of first-time homeowners, car owners, and travelers. They believed in merit, in education, in saving for a brighter tomorrow. Their lives were built on a simple bargain. Work hard, obey the system, and prosperity would follow. Today, that promise lies broken. The average monthly income in Beijing has stagnated at around 8,000 yuan, while rent, education, and medical costs have doubled. Meanwhile, white-collar layoffs have exploded across the tech and finance sectors. Entire floors of office buildings in Zhongguancun, once dubbed China's Silicon Valley, are now dark. Mr. Zhang, 37, once a senior engineer at a major software company, now delivers food on a rented electric scooter. I earned 30,000 yuan yin a month in 2020, he says. Now I make 5,000, on good days. But it's still better than nothing. His former office, he adds, is now a co-working space for startups that never launched. This transformation isn't just economic. It's psychological. People used to chase promotions. Now they chase survival. Once they compared cars and condos. Now they compare who's still employed. The word tangping, lying flat, has become more than slang. It's a philosophy of exhaustion. Online videos show graduates sleeping in 10 yuan capsule hostels, sipping instant coffees, coding freelance projects for overseas clients. Others live stream their new minimalist lifestyles. I sold everything, one woman says, because owning nothing means losing nothing. Her stream has millions of views, not out of pity, but envy. To understand how far the middle class has fallen, look no further than housing. In 2019, a 90-square-meter apartment in Tongzhou cost nearly 5 million yuan. Today, you can buy one for under 2 million, yet few dare. Those who still own property are trapped in negative equity, their mortgage larger than their home's worth. Many quietly default, handing their keys to the bank and disappearing. At night, you can see the ghost towers, high-rise buildings, their windows dark, their owners long gone. The elevators still work, the lights in the lobby still flicker, but no one lives inside. In one of Beijing's suburban developments, we met a man sitting alone on a bench surrounded by weeds. His name was Li, a former middle manager. My son studied abroad, he says softly. But now he's back. No job, just debt. We both failed. Families like his once formed the backbone of the urban miracle. They paid taxes, took loans, spent on education, cars, and tourism, the fuel of China's consumption engine. But now, the engine has seized. A sociologist at Renmin University, who requested anonymity, summarized the problem bluntly. The middle class is collapsing not because they are lazy, but because the system no longer rewards effort. The ladder has been pulled up. This is the paradox haunting Beijing. A society that once prided itself on upward mobility is now sinking into quiet despair. Even civil servants, once secure in their positions, are feeling the squeeze. Bonuses have been suspended in multiple districts, and salary delays are now common. We used to envy government jobs, said a young teacher. Now they envy us, because at least we can quit. Across the country, side hustles have become lifelines. Accountants sell snacks on live streams. Bankers drive ride-hailing cars after hours. Former managers run street stalls selling socks, noodles, or phone cases. Every evening, these white-collar street vendors line the roads near subway stations, their LED lamps glowing like fireflies of desperation. For some, the humiliation is unbearable. Divorce rates have soared, especially among debt-burdened couples in their 30s. Children are pulled out of private schools. Elderly parents move back in to save costs. Social media has turned into a confessional wall of quiet despair. Not angry, just tired. The psychological toll runs deep. Therapists report a surge of patients suffering from invisible unemployment. Those technically employed but doing meaningless work, fearing the next round of cuts. It's like waiting for an earthquake, one analyst says. You don't know when it hits, but you know it's coming. In this silent implosion, something profound has shifted. Belief itself. For the first time in modern China, an entire generation has stopped believing in the future. They don't trust the economy, the banks, or even marriage. Hope, the country's most valuable currency, is devaluing faster than the yuan. A 28-year-old woman who once dreamed of starting her own bakery now works part-time at a delivery warehouse. When asked what she fears most, she doesn't say poverty or illness. She says that I'll wake up one day and realize the best years of my life were already behind me. That quiet confession echoes across Beijing's cracked skyline. A city that once taught its people to dream, now teaching them how to endure. Yet, at the core of this hollowed-out capital lies the unyielding grip of the Chinese Communist Party, a regime that engineered this mirage of prosperity only to watch it crumble under its own weight. For decades, the CCP peddled the illusion of endless growth, suppressing dissent and inflating bubbles to maintain control, all while siphoning wealth from the masses to enrich its elite. Now, as Beijing's streets echo with absence and its people lie flat in defeat, the party's failures are laid bare, a system built on lies, corruption, and unchecked power that prioritizes surveillance over sustenance, propaganda over progress. The silence isn't just economic decay, it's the death knell of a tyrannical dream, where the CCP's iron fist has strangled the very life it claimed to uplift, leaving behind a nation of ghosts and a warning to the world that authoritarian hubris always ends in ruin. What happens when a nation of 1.4 billion people simply stops showing up? This is not a war zone. This is not another lockdown. This is Beijing, November 10th, 2025, and the silence is louder than any explosion. Walk with me down Wangfujing at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. The neon is still screaming, the escalators are still running, but the crowds have vanished. I counted 23 human beings in a mall built for 40,000. A security guard hasn't been asked for directions in 4 days. He cried when I said hello. 2 weeks ago, the same corridor was a river of shopping bags. Tonight, it's a tomb with air conditioning. 93% of physical stores in every major city have shuttered forever since 2022. Not downsizing. Extinction. The Adidas flagship on this street opened with a 3-hour queue in 2018. Last week, the landlord came with bolt cutters, took the shelves, left a handwritten note. Closed forever. Nov 3, 2025. The Beijing Friendship Store, the palace that once required party membership and foreign exchange coupons just to walk in, now has weeds growing through the marble. Glory lasted 40 years. Shame lasted 40 days. Stand with me on Chang'an Avenue at 2 in the morning. 10 lanes wide, 0 cars, only wind pushing plastic bags like ghosts looking for their owners. The government still says 21 million people live here. The electricity meters say 7 million have already disappeared. This is Shanghai, November 8th, 9:42 p.m. Rain so heavy the streetlights drown. A delivery rider parks under a bridge, helmet cam shaking, voice breaking. Brothers, 1 order, 1 yuan. Minus 35 fen for the cabinet. I earned 65 fen. 65 fen for 11 kilometers in this flood. That's 2 packs of instant noodles money. I quit. Right now. I'm done. The clip ends with him throwing the thermal bag into the Huangpu River. Meituan's internal data leaked yesterday. Average order value in Shanghai is now 1 yuan and 3 fen. Record low, 86 fen. They discovered that no matter how low they pay, another desperate graduate, another laid-off factory owner, another former BMW driving manager will risk death for 2 bites of rice. Drive 1 hour south to Dongguan. Follow the smell of concrete dust to the cement pipe hobo base. 300 people sleep inside drainage tubes every night. Half are women. University graduates. Former HR managers who once rejected candidates for wearing the wrong shoes. A 24-year-old girl shows me her phone. Revenue today, 13 yuan. That buys 2 bottles of water and 1 steamed bun. We are not homeless by choice. We are homeless by statistics. Open the app at 7 p.m. in any city. Watch the map. Thousands of orange rider dots crawling like ants looking for a crumb that isn't there. Official death toll for delivery riders this year, 487. Rider WeChat groups say the real number is 4,200. Cause of death, overwork, suicide, accident. Same order. This is Zhengzhou, November 5th. A Grab driver picks me up for a 7 yuan ride. 3 seconds after I cancel the premium options, someone accepts. The driver is 22, just graduated, bachelor's degree in civil engineering. He tells me if anyone says you can still make money driving in Zhengzhou, you can spit in their face. He sleeps in the car, showers at the gym with a 5 yuan trial membership he renews every day under a different name. This is a clinic in a small county town, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 1 day off per month, base salary 1,800 yuan, with perfect attendance bonus 2,000. That's 6.5 yuan per hour. The ad says, no outdoor work, no sun, no rain. They forgot to mention no dignity. This is a 36-year-old former high school politics teacher. 3 months ago, he took off his gown for the last time. Yesterday, he rode 19 hours, earned 87 yuan, came home smelling of gasoline. His 7-year-old daughter sent him a WeChat message. Daddy, I got 97 on the test. Can we buy half a cake? He hasn't answered yet. This is a 30-year-old lighting factory owner in Dongguan who owed 221 million yuan. Last month he jumped. The factory that once employed 2,000 people now has a banner. For rent, we'll consider any price. This is a couple in their early 30s kneeling in a vegetable market with a cardboard sign, no money for food. Behind them, their 20-year-old daughter kneels too. All 3 graduated from university. All 3 lost their jobs the same week. This is a street food stall at 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Total revenue, less than 600 yuan. The owner shows me his trash can. 5 napkins all day. He says next year will be worse. This is a live streamer who hides her face, plays music, says welcome every 10 seconds. 4 hours, 7 yuan gross. Company takes 15%. She goes home with 4 yuan. A bowl of noodles downstairs costs 10. This is an 80-born mother who hasn't bought clothes in 3 years. Lunch budget, maximum 12 yuan. Heating bill, 2,000 yuan. She stared at the payment QR code for 31 days before pressing confirm. Adults can freeze. My kid can't. This is a garbage bin at 4:30 a.m. 8 young people dive in like synchronized swimmers. One finds half a KFC burger, eats it without looking up. 10 years ago, we called them the proud post-0 generation. Today, we call them recyclable material competitors. This is the new Chinese dream. 200 plastic bottles for 1 Big Mac you still can't afford. This is the Great Rejuvenation, a nation that classifies its own children as surplus labor capacity. And while the streets die, something else is growing in the dark. Former MSS 10th Bureau agent Eric, 39 years old, defected to Australia in 2023. He speaks softly from a safe house overlooking the ocean. People think the silence is only economic collapse. Wrong. The silence is policy. Cuc 10's official name is External Security and Reconnaissance Bureau. Unofficial mission. Make the party's eyes reach every single Chinese person on Earth, inside or outside the firewall. They don't need to arrest 1.4 billion, they just need to make 1.4 billion afraid to open their mouths. Every YouTuber, every Twitter Space host, every lifestyle blogger with 50,000 followers who ever typed the word freedom has a 17-page file. Personality weaknesses, parents' address, medical history, mistresses, gambling debts, brand of cigarette. Then come the surround and hunt tactics. Hack the Gmail, Flood the comments with bots. Send anonymous voice messages to mom at 3 a.m. until the target deletes the channel or deletes himself. Leaked document from Angson Security Technology, March 2024. 1,847 overseas Twitter accounts compromised in 1 quarter. Average cost per account, 2,800 yuan. Cheaper than a coffin. Eric lowers his voice. When every citizen becomes his own jailer, the party saves ammunition. That's why the streets are empty. Not because people have no money, because people have no future. Night falls again on Beijing. 10 lanes, 0 cars. The dragon hasn't died. It's just stopped breathing where anyone can see. But some nights, it still coughs blood. November 9th, 2025, 11:47 p.m., Haidian District. McDonald's, the one that never closes. The lights are fluorescent white, the fries are cold, and 42 people are pretending to eat so they can stay warm. They call it the 24-hour refugee camp with free Wi-Fi. The night manager charges 20 yuan per person after 2 a.m. if you don't order something new. A former Huawei senior engineer, 41, masters from Tsinghua, sleeps upright in booth number 7. He has been here 19 nights. His phone battery is at 4%. His dignity is at 0. Across the booth, a 29-year-old woman from Hebei live streams her suicide note on Douyin. Title: Last order was 86 fen. Goodbye. The platform cuts the stream in 14 seconds, but not before 1.8 million people see her drink the pesticide. Within minutes, the video is scrubbed from every server inside the Great Firewall. By morning, her account never existed. Her mother in Baoding receives a phone call from the local police station. Your daughter moved abroad suddenly. Stop asking. That same week, Beijing traffic police logs leak something new. From November 4th, unmarked olive green trucks appear on Chang'an Avenue. Fuxing men, Second Ring Road, even outside 301 Military Hospital. No license plates, no unit markings. Drivers wear Type 21 winter fatigues without insignia. Local sources inside the system whisper one sentence: regular PLA, not armed police. They're rehearsing for something that hasn't been named yet. A friend still working in the Beijing Garrison Command sends a voice message at 3:12 a.m., voice lowered to a thread. Don't film the trucks. Don't ask what they're for. Just know that every major overpass now has a squad of 12 soldiers in plain clothes, rotating every 4 hours. Orders came from Zhongnanhai on November 2nd. Codename, Silent Shield. Official explanation, winter air pollution drill. Real explanation, they're afraid the unemployed will start talking to each other in real life. November 6th, 4:20 a.m., WeChat group. Beijing Midnight Riders, 74,000 members. One rider posts a single photo, 30 soldiers in civilian jackets loading riot shields into a van outside Yonghegong Lama Temple. Caption, brothers, if you see green vans, take another road. The post disappears in 9 seconds. The rider's account is permanently banned. His Meituan rider ID is deactivated at 4:29 a.m. By sunrise, he is riding an unlicensed scooter with no app, cash only, earning 30 yuan all day. Meanwhile, the property apocalypse accelerates. In Langfang's Yongqing County, 30 kilometers from Tiananmen, an entire 42-building complex built in 2019 now sells apartments at 3,500 yuan per square meter. Original price, 23,000. That's an 85% drop in 6 years. One owner live streams his empty flat. Full furniture, 55-inch TV, higher fridge, still has the plastic film on it. Price, 280,000 yuan total. Morning purchase, afternoon keys. Title, By my prison, I surrender. In the live comments, someone writes, Brother, I want to buy, but I only have 180,000. Can pay in 2 years? The owner replies with a crying emoji and turns off the stream. Tianjin's permanent population has shrunk by 540,000 in 3 years, yet 40 new shopping malls opened in the same period. Salespeople outnumber customers 10 to 1. A Louis Vuitton store in Mixi Mall keeps 20 staff on the floor. On November 7th, they sold one belt all day. The store manager forces them to take turns pretending to be customers so the security camera shows movement. In Guangzhou, a freshly graduated couple from 985 universities set up a street stall selling phone cases. Revenue first day, 47 yuan. Cost of goods, 68 yuan. Rent for the tiny spot, 180 yuan. They close at midnight, hug each other, and cry without sound because the city is still watching. Back in Beijing, second-hand housing transactions have fallen 80% year on year. The average seller now offers 38 apartments for every buyer. One listing in Chaoyang Park, 89 square meters, fully renovated, original price, 7.1 million in 2021, now 3.1 million. Owner pays all taxes and fees, throws in a 2023 BMW 320i parked downstairs. Still no offers after 118 days. The owner, a former Ant Group director, now rides Elay.me in the same district where he once earned 2 million a year. At 2:10 a.m. on November 10th, a WeChat Moments post from a verified real name user lasts exactly 41 seconds before vanishing. 15 years ago, I told my mom house prices only go up. Today I sold my flat for half the mortgage I still owe. Mom asked if she did something wrong raising me. I couldn't answer. By dawn, the man's social credit score has dropped 32 points for spreading negative energy. His Alipay Huabei limit is cut from 50,000 to 800 yuan overnight. And while the streets bleed jobs and dreams, something far colder is watching from above. Not the winter sky. The party's unblinking eye. Tonight, for the first time on open air, we bring you the full confession of Eric, former 15-year veteran of China's most secretive predator, the 10th Bureau of the Ministry of State Security. He is 39. He defected to Australia in February 2023, carrying a hard drive that still makes Beijing wake up in cold sweat. He speaks softly, the way men speak when they know the microphone might be their last. Eric opens a plain manila folder. Inside is a single photograph. A smiling 34-year-old democracy activist boarding a flight in Bangkok, holding a bouquet for Grandma's funeral. He never landed. The plane did. The bouquet is still in some evidence locker in Qinghai. That was Target 117, Eric says. Operation lasted 26 months. We built a fake childhood friend from scratch. Same primary school, same 1998 class group photo, same habit of typing hey hey instead of haha. We aged the QQ logs, planted memories on Xiaohongshu, even forged a scar on the left knee from a bicycle fall in 1995. Total cost, 47,000 yuan. Success rate across 3 in 12 similar cases, 91%. Cheaper than a coffin, cleaner than a trial. He turns the page. A classified org chart glows on the screen. 10th Bureau, External Security and Reconnaissance. 2 arms, defense. Stop any Chinese diplomat, soldier, or student overseas from ever thinking the wrong thought. Offense. Make sure the wrong thought never spreads. Official motto, written in red ink at the top. Let the party's eyes reach every single ethnic Chinese on the planet, alive or dead. Eric's finger traces the spider web. We own WeChat, Douyin, Xiaohongshu, Temu, Pinduoduo Global, every app you open to say goodnight to mom. WhatsApp is blocked, Telegram is blocked, Signal is blocked, so you have no choice. Every voice message, every red envelope transfer, every time you type Xi Jinping and delete it, we see it in real time. Kuk 14's interception center in Qinghai receives the packet 0.9 seconds after you hit send. By the time you put the phone down, your file has already been updated. He leans closer. Every overseas YouTuber, every X account with more than 50,000 followers Whoever criticized the party has a 17-page psychological dossier. Page 1, childhood trauma. Page 2, current debts. Page 3, mother's hypertension medication brand. Page 4, mistress's cup size. Page 5, decision matrix. Leverage, surround hunt, neutralize. We don't flip them. We hunt them with leverage until they flip themselves. Eric opens a video file timestamped March 2024. A Beijing conference room. Engineers from Angxin Information Technology demonstrate a tool called Ghost Key. One click. 1,847 overseas Twitter accounts fall. Passwords, DMs, draft tweets, unsent voice notes, all streamed live to a wall of screens. The room erupts in applause. 7 months later, October 29th, 2025, CCTV 13, Great Hall of the People. Same company receives the National Progressive Private Enterprise Medal. The CEO bows to Li Qiang. The broadcast cuts at exactly 12 seconds. The medal is real gold. The blood is real too. Eric closes the laptop. People think the 10th Bureau is about catching spies. Wrong. It's about manufacturing silence. We don't need to kidnap every dissident. We just need to make the remaining 10 million believe the knock will come tonight. Sleep deprivation, anonymous threats, hacked nudes sent to employers, AI-cloned children crying on WeChat at 3:17 a.m. It works better than Black Hoods. He stands, walks to the window. Moonlight on the Pacific. In 2024, the old Joint Office for Suppressing Falun Gong Overseas got a quiet upgrade. New name: Overseas Hostile Forces Comprehensive Response Command. Budget tripled overnight. New target: any group, anywhere, larger than 20 people, that dares to whisper the phrase, "The economy has already collapsed." They don't care if you meditate. They care if you motivate. Eric turns back. His final sentence is barely louder than the waves. They have rehearsed the spark. Zhangjiakou Training Base, August 2025. 19,000 PLA troops dispersed 1 million simulated civilians in 4 hours 12 minutes. Tear gas, microwave crowd control beams, 5G jammers, drone-dropped paralytics. The green trucks you see on the second ring road aren't for foreigners. They're for the day the delivery riders, the mortgage slaves, the mothers bargaining for half a cake, and the fathers who smell like gasoline finally look up from their phones and realize the party is outnumbered 10,000 to 1. That day is not coming. It's already waiting at the traffic light, helmet in hand, 86 Fen order in pocket, and a scream in its throat that the 10th Bureau has not yet learned how to delete. The eye is watching, but the eye cannot see what happens when 1.4 billion closed mouths decide to open at the same time. This is China Undercover. We are the ones who refuse to look away while a nation of 1.4 billion souls is taught to hold its breath. We are the voice in the dark that says, "You are not alone." We are the hand reaching through the firewall to every rider crying in the rain, every mother counting coins for half a cake, every father who hasn't slept in the same bed as hope for years. Your scream is already inside us. One day soon, we will hand it back to you, louder, unbroken, and impossible to delete. Until that morning comes, keep the helmet on, keep the phone charged, keep the story alive. We are not going anywhere, and neither are you. China's silent collapse. From the gold panic to the lying flat generation. In recent months, the mood inside China has shifted from silent anxiety to visible despair. On one side, the gold market, once the symbol of stability and wealth, is cracking under the weight of new taxes and evaporating consumer trust. On the other, a generation of young people has quietly given up on chasing the illusion of success. They film their minimalist, near-homeless lives in internet cafes and 10-yuan hostels, turning resignation into quiet rebellion. Together, these two stories, collapsing confidence in gold and the rise of the lying flat youth, reveal a single truth. China's economy is not merely slowing, it is losing belief in itself. At the beginning of November, a seemingly minor policy change sent shockwaves through China's gold industry. The Ministry of Finance abruptly announced that non-investment gold would no longer receive full input tax deductions. Overnight, production costs jumped by more than 60 yuan per gram, roughly $8. For ordinary consumers, the announcement meant one thing: gold would become even more expensive. In Shenzhen's famous Shuibei jewelry district, prices surged from 930 yuan per gram to nearly 1,000 in just 3 days. In Beijing, gold jewelry exceeded 1,060 yuan per gram, while top brands such as Chow Tai Fook and Luke Fook were selling at over 1,260 yuan, levels unimaginable only a year ago. Retailers panicked. Many suspended shipments, locked their counters, and shut their doors entirely. Videos from social media showed shuttered storefronts and empty display cases. At these prices, who can afford to buy? One jewelry store clerk said quietly to local reporters. Last year, a young couple could still afford a pair of rings. Now, even the rich hesitate. Hong Kong markets felt the tremor, too. Gold-related stocks plunged. Chow Tai Fook fell 12%, Chow Sang Song 8%, and Luke Fook nearly 10%. Analysts warned that this was not a short-term correction. It was the beginning of a deep contraction. The new policy draws a clear line between investment gold and consumer gold. Investment-grade bars will be taxed first and refunded later, but jewelry will lose most of its input deductions, shrinking margins and crushing small workshops. The government insists this is about rationalizing the market. In truth, it's about control. Beijing has grown uneasy about the flood of savings leaving banks for physical gold. In an economy already weighed down by property collapse and high local debts, the central bank fears a quiet run on the system, 1 gram at a time. The tax reform is a warning shot. Gold may glitter, but the state owns the shine. The immediate fallout was brutal. Chains that had expanded aggressively during the post-pandemic years began retreating. Luke Fook closed more than 900 stores this year. Chow Tai Shen lost over 500. Chow Sang Song quietly pulled out of dozens of mainland cities, especially third and fourth tier ones, where franchisees simply couldn't survive. From a distance, it looks like a normal business cycle, but inside, it feels like suffocation. Franchise owners are stuck with unsellable stock and shrinking margins. One retailer in Suzhou explained, "Every piece of gold we buy ties up tens of thousands of yuan. If the price drops tomorrow, that's my loss, not the brand's. How can we keep going?" Even state-backed companies are not immune. China Gold, the flagship national brand, has faced accusations of selling counterfeit or impure jewelry. Customers on Douyin, Chinese TikTok, have posted test results showing fake content in bracelets purchased from official stores. Some videos have gone viral, triggering brief online outrage, only to vanish hours later, deleted under content sensitivity. In an economy where credibility itself is collapsing, even gold, the last store of value, has become suspect. Then came the shock from the banking sector. On the night of October 29th, millions of users of the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, ICBC, the country's largest lender, opened their apps to find their account balances mysteriously wiped to zero. Savings, investments, and gold holdings all disappeared from view. Social media exploded. Screenshots of blank banking apps spread across Weibo. "My money is gone," wrote one user from Beijing. "All my funds, all my investments, zero." ICBC quickly issued a statement blaming a system failure. It promised that all funds were safe. But for many, the damage was psychological. If even the universe's first bank could malfunction overnight, what was truly safe? The timing of the incident raised questions. Just as the gold tax reform discouraged citizens from investing in gold, the nation's most trusted bank accidentally erased their digital wealth display. Some analysts quietly speculated that this was a deliberate stress test, a way for authorities to measure public reaction to a financial shock. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear: confidence, once broken, cannot be coded back into a screen. At the same moment that investors were losing faith in gold, another group of Chinese citizens was losing faith in life itself, at least in the version the system demanded of them. They call it lying flat, a quiet rejection of endless competition, property obsession, and the treadmill of 996 corporate life. Instead of chasing jobs, mortgages, and family expectations, these young people film their minimal existence online, living in 10-yuan hotel rooms, eating instant noodles, and spending nights in internet cafes. A video might show a young man waking up in a dim, 600 yuan a month room. "This air conditioner eats too much electricity," he murmurs to the camera. "I'll turn it off once it cools down a bit." Later, he walks to an internet cafe, spends 5 yuan on fried noodles, and plays games until dawn. Another, known as Internet Cafe Girl Xiao Qing, films herself sleeping in city village hostels and reviewing cheap cafes. Her clips show a life stripped to the bone: no savings, no job, no pretense. She calls it freedom. One veteran, homeless for over 2 years, gives survival tips: how to get free coffee refills at McDonald's using discarded cups, or how to sneak into hotels to shower during checkout hours. At first, viewers treated these videos as urban curiosities, raw glimpses of the underclass. But as the economy worsened, they struck a deeper chord. Millions of young Chinese, trapped in unemployment or low-paying gig work, saw reflections of themselves. By late summer, the government had noticed. In August, several lying flat bloggers reported that their Douyin accounts had been permanently banned. Little A Online, one of the most popular, told followers his videos were deleted for violating internet regulations. When he tried to appeal, customer service gave no answer. A week later, he was allowed back, but only partially. All previous content was gone, and he was warned to avoid attracting attention. Others were not so lucky. A vlogger named Mao Chang, known for his slogan, "Dear Capitalists, Hello," disappeared during a live stream in April after plainclothes officers entered his room. He resurfaced a month later with a shaved head, posting carefully worded videos urging viewers to obey the law and love the country. The subtext was clear. Throughout 2025, entire waves of similar accounts vanished. Platforms such as Weibo and Bilibili confirmed that they had closed more than 1,200 accounts accused of spreading negative information. Local governments labeled the content as damaging the city's image. Even creators who didn't discuss politics were targeted. A blogger who filmed cheap rentals across China had his channel renamed from Lying Flat Planner to Anti-Rolling Planner before being banned outright. His offense? Showing that it's possible to live cheaply and survive outside the official narrative of struggle and consumption. To outsiders, it may seem absurd that harmless videos about internet cafes could trigger state censorship. But in modern China, even passivity is political. The Communist Party's economic model depends on constant motion: citizens working, buying homes, taking loans, getting married, and having children. Every link in that chain keeps the system alive. Lying flat breaks it. By refusing to strive, these young people silently reject the national narrative that success equals sacrifice. Their quiet retreat from ambition becomes a form of disobedience, not loud enough to arrest, but visible enough to threaten. Officials call this loss of confidence. But the truth is harsher. It is the loss of illusion. Official data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that as of August 2025, youth unemployment, ages 16 to 24 excluding students, reached 18.9%, one of the highest in history. Even after adjustments, it remained above 17% for months. Over 12 million college graduates entered the labor market this year, facing shrinking demand and wages. When the dream of a stable job, a mortgage, and a family fades, the only rational response for many is to step aside. The lying flat movement gives that resignation a name and a face. Whether in the glitter of gold markets or the gray rooms of internet cafes, the pattern is the same. The Chinese public is retreating from belief. The government worries not about rebellion, but about apathy. In a country that once worshipped upward mobility, the sight of millions quietly disengaging from careers, consumption, or savings is far more destabilizing than protest. The crackdown on lying flat bloggers is therefore not about protecting morality or order. It is about protecting confidence, the one commodity the state cannot print. Every gold buyer who hesitates, every youth who stops striving, is a data point in an invisible recession of the mind. Beijing's leaders understand this better than anyone. That's why they punish silence as if it were dissent. As one netizen wrote before his post was deleted, they fear not our anger, but our indifference. Because once people stop believing, nothing can be controlled. From the luxury malls of Shanghai to the smoky cafes of Changsha, China's twin crises, economic and spiritual, now move in parallel. The new gold tax reflects a government desperate to curb speculation and redirect savings into state banks. The crackdown on minimalist vloggers reflects a regime desperate to stop citizens from giving up. Both expose the same fear, that control is slipping not through riots or revolts, but through quiet withdrawal. The glitter of gold and the glow of computer screens in dim internet cafes are two sides of one coin, both signs of a society searching for meaning as its grand narrative collapses. The party once promised endless prosperity through hard work. Today, hard work no longer guarantees survival, and prosperity no longer guarantees trust. A young man sitting in a tiny rented room, whispering into his phone camera, says more about modern China than any official statement. He is not protesting, not fighting, just breathing, surviving, documenting. And that, to the system, is the most dangerous act of all. Gold may still glitter under fluorescent lights, and cities may still hum with commerce. But beneath the surface, the foundation is cracking. When wealth disappears from phone screens, when youth vanish from the workforce, and when truth itself must hide in a live stream, it no longer matters whether the numbers look good. The collapse is not in GDP. It's in faith. The belief that tomorrow will be better than today. And once that belief is gone, even 1,000 tons of gold can't buy it back.
A silent wall is closing in across China, unseen, but deeply felt. In towns and cities, people are being quietly summoned to local offices. Without any written notice or reason, they're told to surrender their passports. No explanation, no paperwork, just one cold phrase that echoes from every official's mouth. That's the rule. Their only mistake? Wanting to step outside the borders of their own country. One woman described how, after returning from a trip abroad, she was stopped and ordered to give up her passport. When she asked why, the officer's reply was simple, mechanical. Because it's the rule. Her story spread online like wildfire, and soon countless others echoed the same experience. It's been a year and they still haven't returned mine, one wrote. They said it's only for verification. But it never ends, said another. The passport, once a simple document of travel, has quietly turned into a leash. Even retirees and jobless citizens are being accused of planning to run away. A retired banker said police called him 6 months after his resignation, demanding his passport for system reform. That term now carries a chill, a warning that freedom is being quietly rewritten. Insiders reveal that since 2024, orders have circulated nationwide, recalling passports in the name of national security. But in reality, it's a silent tightening of control. By 2025, the grip had grown stronger. Airports became interrogation chambers. Phones were searched, private chats read aloud. A young man from Shanghai was detained before boarding a flight to Seoul. When he asked why, he was told coldly, "For national security." He later wrote, "I'm not a criminal. I just wanted to visit my friend." The post vanished within hours. His account was erased. His voice, gone. Officials claim this is about border management. But to millions, it feels like a national lockdown. Applying for a passport has become nearly impossible. Families hoping to travel together face endless requirements. Even toddlers need invitation letters. Ask for a reason, and you'll hear the same words: orders from above. People no longer expect answers. "I applied months ago," one netizen wrote, "and they told me the process is suspended nationwide. No one knows when it will reopen." This is life in China, 2025, where a lost passport means a lost identity, where movement itself is a privilege and curiosity is treated as rebellion. Traveling abroad once symbolized opportunity. Today, it triggers fear, surveillance, and suspicion. Even in small villages, people whisper that owning a passport makes you untrustworthy. Still, some dare to speak out. We only want to live freely, nothing more. And it's not just the general public under scrutiny. Civil servants, teachers, doctors, and bankers all face the same leash. A Beijing banker recalled that every new hire must now sign a loyalty pledge, promising to hand in their passport. Even travel passes to Hong Kong and Macau are being confiscated under the pretext of anti-corruption. But inside the system, everyone knows the real reason. They're trying to stop people from escaping. "They say it's about honesty," one banker whispered. "But this isn't honesty. It's surveillance." Banks now require full financial disclosures every 3 months, every property, every loan, every penny monitored. Teachers, too, are trapped. Those once chosen to study overseas now find their passports confiscated. "We tell our students to dream big," one teacher said, "but we're no longer allowed to dream ourselves." A heavy silence is spreading, through classrooms, through offices, through entire cities. Across China, fear has become the new border, and the walls, though invisible, grow higher every day. In the remote regions of Xinjiang and Tibet, control has reached a level so absolute that even one's birthplace can determine their fate. A man who had lived and worked in Beijing for more than 10 years went to renew his passport, only to be told that his identity could not be processed there. "Go back to Xinjiang," the officer said flatly, as if his entire life in the capital counted for nothing. Despite paying taxes and building a home, his origin branded him an outsider forever. His words later echoed online, "In this country, where you're born decides your destiny." That single sentence spread like wildfire, resonating deeply with millions who felt trapped within invisible borders they never chose. Across China, citizens returning from abroad are increasingly met by police officers standing at their own doors. "We'll keep your passport safe," they are told, though no one explains what safe means, nor how long the wait will last. One by one, similar accounts flood Chinese social media. Stories of people losing their right to travel, their freedom quietly taken away under the pretext of security. Behind these growing restrictions lies an unspoken reality. The country's economy is breaking apart. By 2025, unemployment in Beijing and Shanghai has reached unprecedented levels. The bustling business districts, once filled with white-collar workers, now belong to delivery riders and street cleaners. People stare at their phones, their savings reduced to a few thousand yuan, their lives consumed by anxiety. Consumers no longer spend, companies no longer invest, and optimism has turned into survival instinct. China's unspoken motto has changed: safety first, freedom later. Yet, in that pursuit of safety, freedom itself is slowly dying. Pawn shops glow at night with signs reading, "We buy anything," and people line up to sell watches, phones, even wedding rings just to buy groceries. A housewife in Suzhou confessed, "Last year I could still save a little, now I count every coin to keep the lights on." On social media, tutorials on how to survive with less dominate trending lists, how to stretch money, how to work multiple jobs, how to endure another uncertain month. Shanghai's skyline still shines at night, but the light feels empty. A taxi driver said quietly, "The city that never slept has fallen silent. Factories are closed, flights are empty, and the people, they've stopped moving." What was once a nation driven by ambition has become one struggling just to breathe. The economy may have frozen, but people cannot stop moving, because standing still means falling behind. Millions borrow money just to live, not to dream. Loans taken not for cars or homes, but for food, rent, and survival. Every day, citizens chase after jobs that no longer exist, wages that no longer come, and a sense of dignity that grows fainter with time. In the first half of 2025 alone, more than 420,000 small and medium-sized enterprises vanished across the country. Entire shopping streets are deserted, neon lights still flicker, but the doors remain locked. In a once vibrant clothing market in Beijing, a shop owner broke down on television, whispering, "No one comes anymore. People don't buy clothes. They buy food. They buy time." In half the country, time itself feels like it has stopped moving. As the economy collapses, it pulls everything down with it: trust, livelihood, and faith. Rumors spread of frozen bank apps, of citizens unable to withdraw their own savings, of homes repossessed overnight when payments fall behind. Viral videos reveal silent crowds outside sealed bank branches, clutching useless bank cards like relics of a vanished world. Still, the government repeats one word over and over: stability. But the stability it promises feels less like peace and more like suffocation, the stillness of a nation holding its breath. People are not silent because they are content. They are silent because they know that words now carry consequences. The right to travel, to spend, to live freely, once considered natural, has become a privilege granted only to the obedient. Among the younger generation, the desire to leave China has never been stronger, yet the exits are disappearing. Visa applications are rejected without reason, interviews are canceled without notice, and flights vanish from schedules under the excuse of technical issues. It is as if even the sky has been sealed. The border is no longer a geographical line but a wall, invisible yet unbreakable, rising higher every day. This is the face of the new China, a nation where people still wake up, still go to work, still try to believe in tomorrow, yet live in quiet fear that everything they have could be taken away at any moment. The lights are still on, but the spirit has dimmed. And as the walls close in tighter, one question lingers in the air: how long can a country survive when its people are no longer allowed to breathe? Thank you for watching until the end. We will continue to uncover the stories that others choose to hide, because some truths deserve to be seen no matter how tightly they are buried. See you again in the next video.
China's e-commerce world is collapsing fast. The boom that once created millions of online millionaires is now turning into a nightmare. After a new wave of taxation, countless merchants are going bankrupt overnight. Many are desperate to flee, realizing too late that they can't afford the crushing tax bills. Some even paid their taxes, only to find their bank accounts completely empty. For 20 years, e-commerce was China's golden engine of growth. Now, it's dying. The electrician, the nickname for e-commerce entrepreneurs, is officially dead. Even top influencers are shutting down. Jian Daming, a famous Taobao blogger with 1.9 million Weibo followers, closed her store after more than 10 years. Another Taobao star, Zhang Daiyi, followed. One after another, once thriving online brands are vanishing. The empire that once rivaled the real estate boom has fallen apart. 15 golden years, gone in a flash. This tax storm marks a turning point. Outsiders may not understand how devastating it is, but insiders know. It's wiping out more than half the sellers in the industry. Overnight, cross-border e-commerce collapsed. Phones buzzed non-stop with tax inspection orders, demanding self-audits. From domestic sellers to global traders, everyone received the same message. You owe taxes. Pay now. Panic swept through every e-commerce chat group across China. One TM store owner confessed he handles 200,000 orders a day, yet earns only 20,000 yuan profit. After taxes, there's nothing left. The wave will crush small sellers, especially on low-margin platforms like Pinduoduo and Temu. For nearly 2 decades, from Taobao to live streaming, e-commerce gave birth to a new middle class. But now, the dream is ending. Why now? Why hit the industry when the economy is already weak? Tax bureaus are now targeting everyone. Online sellers, couriers, ride-hailing drivers, even short video creators, demanding back payments. Thousands of small business owners are collapsing under pressure. Some say they'd rather escape than pay. Because competition is fierce, most profits are razor thin. This tax campaign could finish off what's left. One blogger said, "I can't even run. Every transaction is already linked to the tax bureau." Official data confirms it. The crackdown covers both domestic and overseas Chinese sellers. Amazon, eBay, Shopee, you name it. Every sale is tracked. There's nowhere left to hide. Platforms like Pinduoduo make only a few cents per order, not enough to survive new taxes. Many merchants are quietly pulling their money out and planning to leave China. For them, going abroad is the last hope. In China, success depends on one thing: policy. When the government supports you, you rise. When it turns away, you fall. The e-commerce miracle that once defined China's digital age has reached its end. The golden era is over, and what's left is fear, debt, and silence. Still, some refuse to give up. They say they'll pay whatever it takes just to hold on for a few more months. But when the money runs out, so does the dream. The question is no longer who will win, but who will survive. Across China, panic is spreading among e-commerce sellers. Phones buzz nonstop with messages from tax offices. Anyone whose annual sales exceeded 300,000 yuan without full reporting is now under investigation. It doesn't matter if they declared 70%, 80%, or even 90%. If the report isn't complete, the system flags them instantly. And this time, it's serious. Audits can go back 3 years. Authorities are digging deep into every transaction. Even tiny discrepancies are being exposed. In one shocking case, a mayor discovered that a store owner had reported far less income than the provincial data showed. His real turnover exceeded 10 million yuan. With China's powerful big data system, no one can hide anymore. Every detail, every sale, every refund, all can be traced at the push of a button. Now, business owners are terrified. Many have already fled overnight, unable to pay the taxes they suddenly owe. Platforms like Douyin automatically send monthly sales data to tax bureaus. But when refunds happen, those losses aren't deducted. One seller cried, "I sold 150,000 yuan, refunded 50,000, but the tax still counts the full 150,000. Across China, it's the same story. Platforms and tax offices are now fully connected, down to the last cent. A new saying is spreading online. If you don't pay taxes, you die slowly. If you do, you die faster. A friend of mine who runs an online shop almost broke down in tears. He said he needs millions in sales just to stay alive, but after months of work, his profit is close to zero. Meanwhile, Amazon's system now shares transaction data directly with authorities, every order visible like blood flowing through a transparent vein. Even top e-commerce giants aren't safe. Some leading companies have paid more than 8 million yuan in back taxes, wiping out 94% of their profits within just 6 months. In Shenzhen, sales of major sellers have collapsed. Some even lost their licenses after missing tax payments for 2 months. And all of this is happening right before Double 11, China's biggest shopping festival. Once the symbol of consumer confidence, this year it feels eerily cold. Merchants didn't launch promotions. Consumers didn't care. The online buzz that used to light up the internet? Gone. This may be the coldest Double 11 in history. Live streamers are facing a nightmare too. I streamed for 3 hours, one said. Not even 100 viewers showed up. Paid promotions flopped, and organic traffic vanished overnight. Orders dropped by 30% in a single day. In Guangzhou's Jinhu Xiekai city, once a bustling wholesale hub, entire rows of shops now sit empty. No customers, no orders, no future. For many, Double 11 has turned into a ghost festival for China's digital economy. Experts say this crackdown isn't random. It's a sign of deeper financial distress inside the government. In the first half of this year, China's tax revenue fell by 1.2%. Desperate for funds, officials have turned to the internet economy as their new hunting ground. Chinese affairs analyst Wang He says this shift shows how the government is now feeding off what's left of its once glorious digital empire. The golden age of China's e-commerce is over. The industry that once defined a generation has entered its harshest winter, and no one knows who will survive.
What will our cities look like when every store is gone?
我今天刷到个数据啊，实体店倒闭率高达93%。
Today I updated the data, and the truth is shocking. The closure rate of physical stores has reached 93%. Imagine this. You leave for work, and when you return, a street that once had 100 shops now has only a few left. You start to wonder, am I still in the same city? Most stores can't survive even 2 years. Some don't last months. Walk down the street, and you'll barely see a single person. Hand-run stores, once everywhere, are now vanishing. This is what the working world looks like today. Empty. Beijing has become eerily quiet. Rumors swirl about political struggles inside Zhongnanhai. Xi Jinping's rare appearances have fueled speculation, but ordinary people can't feel the storm because they're too busy trying to survive. The city is fading, and its people are fighting just to stay afloat. Look at this. New East Road, once packed with cars, now stands deserted. During holidays, Beijingers flee to the suburbs or abroad. The rest hide indoors. Foreign tourists visit the landmarks, but most of the city is silent. Let's visit the Jinyuan Shopping Center in western Beijing, once one of the busiest malls. Now it's a ghost mall. Stores are shuttered, escalators run empty, and even brands like Adidas have disappeared. The parking lot that used to be jammed with cars, completely empty. And here's the Beijing Friendship Store, a legend from the 1970s to the 1990s. Back then, this was the pride of the capital, a symbol of luxury and privilege. You needed special status, foreign connections, or foreign currency coupons to shop here. It was once the dream of every Beijinger. No, it stands silent, the glory long gone. We claim to have 1.4 billion people, but where are they? When the population was 1.2 billion, the streets were alive. Crowds everywhere, even in the countryside. But today, Beijing feels empty. As a real estate and financial agent, I've seen clients vanish, deals disappear. The economy is struggling. Companies slash costs, workers lose jobs, restaurants shut down, and once bustling districts are now frozen in silence. Even the convenience store downstairs, opened just last week, has closed. Offline business has become a battlefield no one wins. Online shopping dominates and physical stores are suffocating. The fall of real-world commerce is no longer a number. It's something we can see, feel, and walk through every day. Beijing, once the heartbeat of China, is now a city of silence. This year, both stores downstairs have closed, and I still can't believe how bad the real economy has become. It's 7:20 p.m., and when you walk into a mall, the lights are bright, but there's no life. Every floor looks empty, and the staff seem to outnumber the customers. I went to Beijing's APM Mall on a Thursday afternoon, and it was the same. Quiet, cold, and almost deserted. Once crowded and lively, now it feels like the soul of the city has disappeared. I recently closed my own shop again. The rent for 2 floors behind me was 100,000 yuan a year, something I couldn't afford anymore. I moved to a smaller space, tried to hold on, but still failed. The team disbanded, and I'm now working alone. Life feels harder than ever. Because of my small pension, even a 60 yuan grocery trip is out of reach. Every morning at 5 a.m., people gather in the freezing dark, hoping for a day's work. Some stay up all night for just a small wage. Meanwhile, Beijing has become increasingly strange. A local resident told overseas media that while riding to work near Zidan one morning, he saw several dark, unmarked trucks parked by the roadside. At first, everyone thought it was just another police drill. After all, it's normal to see officers and military vehicles in the capital. But in the following days, the number of military vehicles kept growing. They appeared not only on Chang'an Avenue and Fuxingmen, but also near hospitals, schools, and small intersections along the 2nd and 3rd ring roads. When he called a friend who worked in the security system, the man spoke in a low voice, saying there was some intelligence suggesting people might organize online and cause trouble, so the authorities were tightening control. He hinted that this time, not only the armed police but also regular troops were being deployed at key points across the city,